Anyways, you're kind of sus, bro.
I mean, I don't know who.
No, one of both of you are wearing red. It was red.
Well, I'm just saying, he's got a hat. All right, right off the bat. Now that I have you guys here, I'm just gonna say it flat out: not the imposter.
I'm just gonna vote myself out. I don't want to deal with this.
You're gonna vote yourself out?
Yeah.
I never even thought of that. Wow, that's actually a genius move.
Should we vote him out?
Big brain. Well,
We'll vote Mak out. He doesn't even know how to play the game.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't even know.
Bro, did you go in events?
Y'all acting kind of sus right now.
That's what an imposter would say.
I don't know. I mean, I'm the one that's trying to
Also, we're recording.
And...
Oh, what? We're
God damn it, boy.
Really? Oh, you pressed the button.
He always does that. Okay.
Emergency meeting button.
Now we're recording. Okay, so now
I'm
that
gathering you all here today.
all right. Damn,
dude.
Pull that move, eh?
Right, wow.
Bro, all right, where are we now? Who wants to do the intro?
Okay. Well,
I'll jump in because it's been a while for me.
Yeah,
All right,
please.
here we go. Welcome to another episode of Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. This is episode 17. Can you believe that, guys? 17.
I'm happy here. Yeah, it's been a nice long run.
We've been able to, keep it consistent and whatnot. Yeah. I'm sorry, but if I'm staring off into the
actually
distance,
running out of ideas. We're really running out of ideas, guys.
Let him know that. Okay, yeah, let him know that.
You were not supposed to tell him that.
No, it's fine. It's okay. Well, what we have been discussing is just like, obviously, we've grazed a lot of topics.
We still got some
we
coal
got a ton,
guys.
actually.
We can keep this train going.
No. I know we've got lots of stuff we can talk about, guys. I'm just saying that, we've after 17 episodes, or, after 16 episodes now, we've touched on a lot of stuff when it comes to airsoft and everything, and what are the capabilities, what are the things to do, what are the, just everything involved.
They can't see my face right now. Now they can, but I'm just saying, bro. Really? There's like so many things you can get into, and I mean like specific wise, and you can easily talk about general things, right? Mm-hmm. And that just covers your general basis, but like it's very easy to get into specifics, and when people usually have more questions, usually gets into the specifics and stuff.
Actually, that's a good point. Now is a good time for our audience to sort of like throw ideas at us, because of the fact that we have a pretty well established sort of listeners and viewers as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with the amount of people that have come up to us, or come up to me myself, and told me that they're listening or anything like that, or watching us on YouTube, or liking and sharing our videos. Because honestly, guys, thank you. We really appreciate it. Because other than that,
helps us out a lot, man.
If not, we're just talking to ourselves.
Well, we technically are just talking to ourselves. Let's be real.
Yeah, technically. If I don't upload this, we're just talking to ourselves.
Well, I still like you both.
Are you saying we haven't uploaded any of our last videos?
I'll have to check. I'll get back on you on that. All right. Well, let's just get into our format here. It's just three of us. We're all wearing our Panther shirts. Weather. We were just talking about last week. Any updates from that one? I'm wearing my sweater. It's freaking warm now. So
I can say right now off the bat, today was one of those weird days that we always talk about, because I won't lie, coming here I was sweating because it was actually quite muggy out, earlier, and I won't lie, like what I was wearing right now probably wasn't the best, but I knew that later in the day or later in the evening and stuff like that, it was going to cool down and stuff, and I'm comfortable right now. But I just one of those things, right? Today was one of those days. So it's like if today was a play kind of day, right? Like it's something that you would bring like a change of clothes for, or like you would be a little more prepared for.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And as we all know, like, we're heading into October here. The sun's going to go down even sooner and stuff, like today. Exactly. It's kind of a weird day for an October. Mm-hmm. Like at work, I was, sweating off there, working all day. And then I went for a run. I was still in a t-shirt, which was nice because, we got that smoke back right now. So, so definitely, guys, if anyone's worried about coming to the field, anyone has any respiratory issues or anything like that, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Hopefully the wind will push it away like it kind of has been and stuff like that. It's kind of like
rain,
Wind and rain, yeah. So let's hope for the best for the coming weekend and stuff. Other than that, obviously, people with those issues need to keep in mind for themselves.
Yeah, just assess yourselves.
Exactly.
Just make sure that you are safe to come down here. Plus COVID, but let's just Well, self-assess.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, we're heading into the winter months, which are the wet months, the cold months, and everything like that. So, like, exactly.
I'd still say it's. I guess it's like middle of fall. Like,
No, no,
is
no,
there
no. Like, you don't get me wrong, right? Like, you can get away with wearing a t-shirt, like,
I get
through
what
the
you're
day
saying.
or
It's
something like
West
that.
Coast,
But
so-
Oh my
exactly,
god!
like
Monday was
you're-
super hot, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Like
that's
what
exactly.
the heck? It was back
weird.
in summer weather, and then all of a
about
sudden
30
the next
degrees, man,
day,
yeah,
or
when I
a
was
couple of
working.
days later, you're like, wow, it's cold.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
Exactly. I had
anytime
all
you
the
go
windows
after
open.
like about 3-4 o'clock now, right? Like, so I went for my run there just after work around like 4:35, and then like as soon as I got back into my house and stuff, sun's going down, right? Like, whew, time to wear a sweater and stuff. So, like it's coming to the time where you're gonna have, and like me, you too, going to work, just going to my car, I just wear a sweater and I take it off when I get to work because the sun's up and you start working. But
Well, so and exactly, and if you account for that time, because Panther's open till 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Right.
well, you are gonna get a taste of night games if you're
Exactly.
interested.
And the closer we get to wintertime and stuff like that, the darker it's going to get, and the more advantageous it's going to be to maybe bring out a flashlight, or for
Exactly.
those guys who have some of those tracer.
Okay, we'll
units.
make another segment of winter is here, and then it'll be either stay at home or
Yeah, I
come
hope we
play
get
in the
a-
cold.
I hope we get another big blast of snow, but I hope it's not in that.
Snowsoft is always fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it when we had that opportunity.
And
Yeah.
and the couple of people that have snow camo get to finally use
Yeah,
it.
that one time in the year you get to use it.
A couple of the guys at the field have some really nice snow
Oh
camo.
yeah, exactly. I'm stoked
Yeah.
to see that. But okay, so just jump back to what we were going on there, guys. Is what is it? Last episode that was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. It's okay. Sweater weather.
Exactly. Talking about jackets and stuff. I did see a lot of guys commenting on the YouTube comments.
Yep.
So really appreciate a lot of those guys and a couple people that are listening, recurring listeners. We had one guy from California tell us his point of view on that and stuff, and I was just thinking.
I think they only have one season.
I was like, oh, I'm so
yeah.
jealous.
Wait, no,
you know?
two: Forest Fire and regular California
I won't
weather.
lie.
I've
That's
heard
mean.
it. I've
That
heard it's
is
changing a little bit.
We
but,
get it, too.
Yeah, we always like to
Well,
poke fun at them and stuff like
with
that.
fires, but yeah, okay, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah.
fires all around. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember those guys are like. Last time I saw documentary about the place or whatever was that they were out of water.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to comment on California Airsoft. It looks cool. I'd love to play it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to go down.
They have the
and
perfect weather
eventually
for
play
it.
Yeah, well,
They have a
you know,
huge,
Yeah.
they have a huge airsoft community.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I would love to.
It's nice that we actually got to reach out there. One comment makes sense. Yeah.
Well, it makes
Yeah.
me jealous watching
And not
California
even
Airsofters.
just that. Like, sorry, I don't mean to like just highlight that. Like, there's people that have been commenting on a lot and coming back and everything like that, and I really appreciate all those people. Like,
Actually, if you're bringing out where our audience come from, I just checked our metrics for our actual podcast. We're pretty much like we've hit almost every times, not every time zone, but every corner of the the globe right now, because I get people from like Europe, UK, as well as like Asia region, listening in as well. I'm like, oh, cool. Like we're actually getting listeners.
Okay, well, exactly, and I would love to hear or read their point of view on that too, guys. So yeah, don't be shy, please. Like, everyone's got their opinion, and when you get an airsofter talking, we all know we love to talk about it. So I would love to see what other people would do and how they deal with it around the world and stuff. Because yeah, eventually I would love to be able to play a game in every, at least every continent or something like that. I missed my shot over out east, but I definitely want to go back.
Yep.
F in chat for Australia.
F and chat for Australia. I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah,
Australia.
sorry, Australia.
I know you guys watch too. Anything happening on the field? We recently posted a Instagram video of us rolling in tanks. Who was at the back of the Humvee chasing after it? Is that you or you? Or
I believe that was Mac.
That was me.
why didn't you jump in? You miss your.
Well, you got to lay down the cover fire, and if you get pinned down while you're doing it,
You were
then
just having fun with the trigger on now. And
it's a Daytona gun. It's fine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it broke.
Yeah, but it's okay. We'll
Yeah,
get it. We'll get it
it's
back.
an easy fix. Luckily,
we
so
better
how was
listen.
it? I was filming it, but how was it riding beside that tank? You could hear a rumble.
Like for anyone who missed out and stuff like that, it was really cool, to have those kinds of opportunities to for us, even the fact that we get to be around that kind of stuff is really cool. And then the next level is being able to sit inside it being able to then after that have them maneuver and stuff like that. It's super cool. So I don't really know what else to say other than it's really cool and it's a nice opportunity. And if you guys are from the area or hang out at Panther and stuff like that, it's like you're more than welcome to sit and
come see it. Who is it? Blue Leader Vehicle Rentals is the one that owns all the equipment here for the tanks, the APCs, the M113s.
Exactly. You can find them on Facebook.
T55 that's in there.
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Check them out. But once in a while, he does bring out his toys on the weekend and, plays around with them because it is fun.
Well, we get a lot of questions about people asking about the vehicles and if they get used in milsims or in-game and everything like that. So, let me just squash this right now. That is not coming out for a game on the weekend. Right, if there were to be
unless you're lucky, sometimes Mark will do
there's
like
the
a
once in
run
a
by,
blue moon, but that's what I'm saying.
But
look, if there's gonna be a vehicle in a game or something like that, there's gonna be so much planning behind it. It's gonna be pretty hard to ignore. So
here's the thing: is if you have deep pockets.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to hire the tank,
they are a rental company.
100%. Yeah. No, if event organizers out there are interested in, staging, vehicles and stuff like that and having sort of like a game mode or something, or even just an event based
Give
off
them
of
a
those
message.
Vehicles.
Give them a message.
100%. Reach out to the guy, it'd be super cool.
But once in a while, you get a treat and see them out in that open field at the parking lot. And he's just, having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like us with airsoft guns, he owns bigger toys.
It's a guy with a tank.
Yeah.
It's like every guy's dream, right?
So with that as well, Frontline Artists was here. They are the talent agency for stunt people and as well as anything tactically cool.
And actors.
They
are actors themselves.
Yeah. And they were doing a bunch of filming for just a demo reel and as well as for Mark as well for his
stock footage
for promotional purposes. So that's why they're out here doing all that stuff. And you guys were doing vehicle contact drills and we were capturing that on camera. It looked pretty cool on the footage, I'm not gonna lie.
And exactly, I don't know if anyone or if everyone's had the opportunity to meet him yet, or at least kind of observe some of the stuff that's going on, but yeah, it was really nice to have Jeff and Andy there from Camp X103.
Yep.
And
they're the brains behind a little bit of the organization of how the vehicles were moving and stuff like
that. Exactly. They're just there. Yeah, they're really, really coming with some real world experience and just helping the frontline group kind of get their stuff together and move. And then there have been a couple of airsofters that have benefited from that. That have joined in on some of the training sessions that are being offered and stuff like that. And I'm really looking forward to the kind of future influence that they could bring to the field.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I don't want to sound like a dick for some of those guys out there, but for all you guys who talk about wanting to be super operator-like and whatnot, for all those guys here in the Panther, area and Lower Mainland, you have that opportunity. You got a real JTF2 guy who's willing to, give some of his time up for some of your money. So, come out here, sign up, reach out to them, see what you can do, because there's a lot of experience, not only with what he's offering, but hell, I'm sure he's interested in sharing some of his stories.
Yeah. And,
and it took a lot of convincing, right?
Yeah.
For him to open that up to airsofters, because I know there's a lot of people. There was a couple of people online that were talking about the price point for this training, and they're all like, "Well, this is airsoft," and
well, none of those people have gone to a real firearms course.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I can tell you right now, it's going to be expensive.
One, and then point two being it's just look, this wasn't designed and or primarily for airsofters. It was for law enforcement, military personnel. So the fact that they were able to kind of be convinced that, oh, okay, well, maybe some airsofters will want to take part. And again, I'm one of those people. Yeah. So I think that I could benefit from it in multiple ways, right? So that's it for me. I don't really have to.
Yeah, and they approached me as well into getting all this stuff sort of going at Panther, and I helped them out as much as I can to translate a lot of the airsoft stuff that we do to then apply it to what they do for their training, because for us it's difficult to do things like as simple as like muzzle control, right? We treat it as a toy. They treat it differently. So they always freak out when, you point it at someone and be like, what are you doing? And then us airsofters would be like, oh, what? No, I'm just waving it around like a toy, right?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Airsofters treat it as, oh, I accidentally shot you, while every other person who, trains with real guns is like, bro, my buddy just died. So, obviously the attitude is completely different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's the threat level, right, that really stands out for, like, real firearms compared to airsoft ones. And I mean,
you're dead.
But that's the thing where...
I'm sorry.
You can die, yes.
Actually, just to give you a little story about that, when they were doing the drills for one of the paid group that was there, I was with them, sort of managing where they are in the field. They noticed that us airsofters do not fall back.
No, well, exactly.
Because it's different. And then I told Jeff, be like, well, in airsoft it's different. It's just like an attrition, right? You just go back and forth on the field, right? You don't fall back because you don't want to lose. You just throw as much bodies as you can and respawn as fast as you can.
And to speak specifically to that, and that's mostly to do with the fact that it's weekend skirmishes and stuff like that, because right off the bat, what would change that sort of attitude is when you bring in a point system and like a competitive aspect of it.
We don't want to dive deep into it, but that was a story right there. And then I told him, like, yeah, we don't practice like, peel backs or retreats or, covering fire or anything. It's basically just like throw bodies at it and then just keep going back.
Well, I mean, that could change with finite respawns.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's if people are interested. Hey,
anyways, they're here to stay. They like Jeff and Andy like what they're seeing here, and they would like to continue on. Any further training that they're coming up, check out Camp X 103 Facebook, and they're going to offer a lot more training, and as well as our partners. Was it Legio? They're doing a course, I believe. Remember what
I would just
Merlin was talking about?
I would specifically just say,
Omega Ops. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I would just say.
Omega Ops is also offering a survival course as well. Check them out.
I really liked what I saw with that, because they're offering like something from like a personal.
It's like a milsim.
Well, it's like a personal perspective on that, and especially if it's coming down from those guys who have been to those kinds of events. And this is more than just kind of like
exactly how Merlin explained it when he was here talking about it, right?
That's what I'm saying. So it's more than just like an airsoft game, like how to play, but more with the added benefit of just kind of like jungle / wilderness survival techniques and navigation. So that's what I'm trying to say is thank you.
But if you guys want to check it out, it is a pretty good price. $50 is not bad.
I saw that, $50.
Yeah. So compared to like a special forces guy,
a real firearms course, because that's what it is.
To really, someone who's training the regular Joe at airsoft, and you don't want it to be too intense, take their course and see how it is, because it's all teaching you how to like survive in a Milsim basically.
Mm-hmm. And they're coming from their own personal experiences.
And they're very experienced too.
Exactly. They've been around for over 20 years, and so it's not like they just played last year and they know it's gonna rain. You know what I mean?
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Yeah. Anyways, any updates? Since we're getting a lot of things coming here from different groups, we also showcased. I was in there with Instagram store, and I was just sneaking in your store there, and you guys were talking about.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You're talking about your CQB.
Yeah, stop. Don't do. People will see it.
It's gone now. The store in the last 24 hours.
All right, good. Well, those who saw, and those who didn't see, stay tuned.
So when?
Materials. And
details will be released as we come across. But if anyone was smart enough to see that and whatnot, there's plans happening.
I'm just.
It's going to be located in city, like we've been talking about all COVID. So no surprise for you guys there.
So guys, if you are looking to help, Mac would like to throw some bodies at it.
That's one way.
Well, when it comes to the bodies aspect, I think we got that covered. It's just mostly just coming up with the plans and the designs, and coming up with the material, because you want to be able to plan it properly, right? You want to be able to use the manpower that's available, because a lot of time people are volunteering their
Dude,
stuff.
cut the bullshit, okay? Guys, it's COVID. It's expensive. Everybody's broke, okay? Lumber's expensive, all right?
Is
And
lumber actually expensive?
It can be.
It can, dude, this is like, yeah. Okay.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Like,
All right, we'll leave it at that.
if anyone saw, right, 3 phases, man, thousands, man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Right?
Well, we appreciate the hard work you're going to put into this.
Yeah, so we want to we want to benefit the field in a positive way and help the community and help multiple groups that are coming here to use the place that we all know and love. And like, this place has been around forever, but it doesn't mean that it can't change. Like, it's always changing and stuff like that. So let's get with the times.
Well, I mean, the field always changes regardless. Throughout the years, I've seen it grown, and it's
exactly.
You're just adding
All
to
I
it
see is
basically.
videos of church. I never got to play there.
You don't want to
did-
play in there.
I-
You don't want to play in there.
I did get to experience Fortress before it was gone. My first time playing Airsoft, police station was still here.
Mm-hmm.
And Crack Shack remains were still Crack Shack remains. Like,
You don't want to play in Crack Shack
no,
back
it
then.
was
Just
like-
be
was-
happy you got to be a part of Dunes before that disappeared.
Oh, yes. Yes, rest in peace, dudes.
I miss Dunes. F in the chat there for that.
Wow.
Personally,
We should just put gravestones on every sort of monument that we have
Respect
or
the
lost.
Dunes, man.
Yeah, just outside your sea can.
That's what separated the boys to the men, okay? Or not even. You know what? Not even. Girls played that too, and they were like
They're
pretty
aggressive
good.
in the middle there.
Oh hell yeah! I know
Oh
some
my
like
gosh.
pretty tough airsoft girls there, man. So you know what? It was just like, that's what separated the renters from the airsofters.
Reminiscing on the old past.
I feel like it was more of like an equalizing plane, like, because you were so close. Even
So
if you had the
close.
most pimped out gun, it didn't matter, because you were still shooting flat.
It's
even
the
with
guys that know how to crawl, dude.
Exactly. It
They're
was like,
so good.
Yeah, like,
Well,
I'm not gonna lie, there were a lot of
I mean-
renters a couple times. They'd sneak up behind you. You didn't even know.
And
They
the
don't need to shoot
end-
very far.
The end of Dunes came with the arrival of everybody having HPA.
Yep.
What? No.
Basically.
Wow, that segued pretty quick
Wow,
there.
that's a lot of responsibility or blame you're putting on there on a specific
I mean,
group.
to be honest,
With great
I
power
am like,
comes great irresponsibility.
Is that how that went?
Yeah.
I
See,
thought it went some.
you wanna
somewhere
know-
different,
Every
Peter.
HPA player I know, including myself, is like Spider-Man with that moment with Uncle Ben, but we went the wrong way instead of being right.
so you want to know how the meme team was started?
What?
So we had a bunch of, back then, a long time ago, say 5 years, 6 years ago, we had a bunch of, like, I don't know if they came from paintball or whatever, but I guess they all had really nice polar stars back then, is what they called them. I'm like the wrong person to ask for HPA, guys. I'm sorry, but they had it like they had it so that like Panther didn't really have rules on it yet, and I guess from that day they had to introduce rules to it.
Right, they were new. Okay.
They had it like there was no RPS lock. It was shooting hot. It was creeping all the time. We were getting badly damaged, like in the skin by it. And then I decided, okay, well, my guys are not having fun, and my teams and my group of fans are not having fun. I went to Ellie and be like, can I just like have City for like an hour or something? We'll just run a mini game, and this is how the mini game started, and this is how the meme team was born, based on Polar Star users or HPA users, sort of abusing their system and damaging us.
Yeah, they can get a bad rep.
Yeah, so that's how they got the bad rep. But we're not talking or down on HPA as much as I want to try and do it, because I'm not really a big fan of HPA, but you guys are. We're talking about what is HPA. Mm-hmm. That is our topic for today. So, guys, what is HPA?
High precision airsoft.
Really?
You're the tech here. Tell us.
Really? Can we try that again?
High pressure air.
My goodness.
Look, I know what I'm talking about some of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, yeah, HPA is definitely It's one of the variations of an airsoft platform where you have a high pressure air tank, and you use that connected to a system. Tack, take over. I don't know.
All I know is there's a
It goes
hose.
pew pew pew, and I have.
All I know is there's a hose to a tank.
Well,
sometimes.
Okay, well, like when it comes to HPA and stuff like that, you have your regular HPA tanks, which have been mostly,
That's right.
brought
The big
on
ones
from,
and the small ones.
But most of them were brought on from paintball and stuff like that, and most of those things are regulated to like 850 psi or whatever it is, which is standard for what those tanks were for. And like to put them in other kits and stuff like that, you had to add another regulator on top of that and stuff like that, as well as a line and stuff, because with paintball stuff, you just screwed it right into the grip or whatever, right? And so with that, came all these regulators and stuff like that. I know I didn't start at the very beginning, and personally, it's like I like HPA, but it's not like it's. I like all of the airsoft stuff. They all have their advantages and stuff like that. But with HPA specifically, you have the ability of tunability, right? And that's a big pro for me, right? One of the big cons is that you have a tank
With high pressure air.
with high pressure air.
Got it.
Exactly.
So a bomb.
Yeah, well, if you're dumb, yes.
Well, that's what I want to highlight.
yeah,
Is
like the-
people need to be smart.
Yeah, so like all those
Because-
guys out there who have a cracked tank and I'm watching you try and fill something and then I get mad at you after because you filled it, don't look at me with a dumb look, please. Like, you're going to hurt someone. Most likely yourself, as much as I...
So, like pressure wise, like you're filling a tank that expands. Like I've seen those things expand.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like expand? Oh, you're talking about like the carbon fiber tanks?
Yeah.
Well, because your most common HPA tank is going to be like an aluminum or steel tank, right? And
So
those
they won't expand, right?
well, they're just gonna blow up or break, or like they'll blow like a hole through it and stuff like that. Is what I've seen. Of course you can.
Or they'll crack a leak.
Well, yeah, or they'll crack a leak and stuff like that. And again, that's all dangerous
Yeah,
because
exactly. With
they can
leaky tanks, yeah.
they-
just
they- well,
totally
it's like-
pressurized.
And you always have to maintain a pressure on it, right? To keep it like going when you're playing, right? Because if I remember correctly, I needed to be like 25,000 or something, or 2,500 or something when I was filling up the minigun that I was using or something like that.
Oh, really? Like, okay, well, again, like that gets into like a lot more specifics and stuff like that, right? So like, when it comes to HPA, with like,
Well, give me the basics, okay? So what's the setup for HPA? You basically have a...
well, so like before Polar Star and all that stuff, right? Like you could probably get like a red line, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but like you probably could just use the red line regulator.
Okay, you missed what I'm trying to say here, Tack. Before you dive into names and everything like that, right? 'Cause some people might not know. Some people might just see the lines and not understand what it is, right? HPA, you got a tank.
You got a line.
Most of the time, you've got a
You
line.
got a regulator.
It's connected to your gun.
You have a
You're-
tank. You always have a line.
right?
Yeah.
Your gun is running off a high pressure air. That is how you're delivering the beam.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
with-
an electric
Well,
gearbox
it's high
like
pressure
an,
air or CO2. You can run it off CO2.
So-
Some
Right,
platforms.
With
So
an
like I said,
AEG,
that's
you're
variations.
basically using
batteries.
motor
yeah.
and batteries
And
to
spring.
generate.
Well, you're essentially using.
You're
it's the
cocking
same,
back.
It's the same thing. You're using air
Yeah.
with an AEG, except the whole thing is run off of electric motor.
Yeah,
Electric
you don't
motor
have any
with a
moving parts on
spring.
an HPA. Honestly,
That's not true. You have moving
Really?
parts on an HPA,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
On,
You've got your air
but it
nozzle.
also depends on which HPA unit. Like
Exactly.
Okay.
You even
because-
have electronics in.
But is it consistent though? I'm guessing it is.
Well,
That's why people love it, right?
Yeah, well, the consistencies are crazy on HPA sometimes, especially when you have a really
Nice tuned
when you have a really sealed system, and it usually comes down to the fact that because it has very little moving parts. It's not the fact that it has no moving parts. Some of them don't have moving parts, but most of the time they do because your nozzle has to move back and forth to be able to chamber around and stuff like that. So that's like your most likely your moving part. And off the bat on my head, in my head, the easiest one to talk about is like the Wolverine SMP. Right, the SMP stand is for single moving part, and so that was something that they were made famous for, is because they had a simple HPA engine with just the nozzle moving in and out, no problem. Right, and then of course With that, you have Polar Star with their version, which is the Polar Star Jack, right? Which is like an entry level HPA system. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's not as tuned and not as perfected as some of their
Is that
other
like
engines.
a drop-in that you put on like a standard AEG or something like that?
So their Polar Star Jack is more like a drop-in like engine. So you got to open up the gearbox and you got to put that. You got to install it yourself and then put it in. It's not like their Fusion engine, which is a drop-in gearbox system, which is literally you take your gearbox out and you find which version it is and you throw that in and it's put your pins back in and it's supposed to work.
Interesting. So you have to build your own, not Polar Star, HPA system to get it going for any platform. Is that correct? Or is there like somewhere you could buy it and just like be like, okay, that's...
Pretty sure you could outright buy it in some places.
It depends where you buy it from. Like most of the time, you're gonna have to get it from like a dealer or like places that specialize in HPA, specifically like Panther Airsoft. I think Evic sells some of them. When
Actually,
they do,
Trigger just brought in a whole bunch of Polar Star and as well as...
and MTW.
Yeah, well, so
MTWs,
what I noticed is that, yes, Trigger did restock in some Polar Star Jacks. So those ones, you can put them in gearbox and stuff like that. I know that when they brought in the MTWs the first time, I think before all this COVID stuff was happening, they only had available the MTW specific Wolverine engines, which was unfortunate because those were ones that you can't necessarily drop in easily. Like you can, but then there's a lot of modifications.
So what you're saying is HPA requires additional assembly.
When you get into those dream builds, like for instance, you're one of those weird guys that wants to HPA like a P90 or something like that. You're not gonna find like a drop-in kit for it, right? You got to put in some work, right? And
Who's Polar Starring a P90?
a couple people. That's why they have the Wolverine Hydra system.
That's not nice.
Yeah, so that because for offset nozzle
That
systems.
gun sucks in airsoft for a reason. In
Not
real
at
life,
all.
yes, it does.
It's so awesome.
It's
In
terrible.
real life, it looks cool.
In real life, it's badass.
I saw a guy have an HPA tap Wii P90. I saw
I'll
gameplay
never
of that.
forget
That was
my
really
fucking
cool.
childhood with Stargate.
Now we're getting into TAP system, which dives into more
Well, that's
gas
another,
blowback.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's another version
That
of
gets
HPA.
into my area, which I don't like still, but it's you're not using like green gas or your whatever propanes you're doing. Now you're just pumping high pressure air into what used to be the valve, the fill valve of like a gas magazine, right? So that's what they call TAP system. So that I'm familiar with because I've seen
there's
people do it.
There's different ways you can do it. Like when it comes to the GBB stuff, there's like a bunch of different platforms. One specifically that comes to mind requires a lot of modification, which is like I think their Facebook page is called Kuzmin Airsoft. They're specifically from Russia, and they work on Wii and stuff like that. And part of their stuff is like dremeling stuff and making channels.
So what
into
you're
it.
telling me is HPA is not just for AEGs, it's also for GBB.
Yeah, well, you can pretty much HPA anything. Like, if you want to get really creative and really, like, hilarious and memey, you could put an HPA system inside a Nerf gun.
Can you HPA my car?
You could HPA your exhaust. You can make it shoot out the back.
It is, like, I'm going to be honest, I'm not used to running an HPA system. I've only run it once before, and that was like an HPA AK or something like that. No, I think it was Zax or something. I was using it for a bit. I'm like, wow, it is consistent. It is responsive. It is quick. It is scary fast for the RPS too.
Well, so I haven't personally seen his gun, so I'm not 100% sure if he changes it or whatever it is, just because...
I'm coming from a gas blowback.
Yeah. Well,
we're not used to these speeds, all right? And consistency. Let's be real.
Yeah, well, especially with the consistency part. Like, I know that when
you could use it at this time, too, when it's, like, getting colder.
Yeah, well, the HPA is great when it comes to, like, specifically on the GBB part. Being able to, let's say, for you specifically, right? You have your Wii M4 that you really like. Let's say that you got your thing shooting phenomenally, but one thing that holds you back in the wintertime is the gas expansion, right? Like, one, Green gas doesn't really work very well. Some people say it does, but again,
Nope, does not.
It doesn't really work very well.
You can trick me as much as you want. It's not going to work.
Yeah,
I know this.
I've had a lot of people get into arguments over that and stuff like that, and I don't know. I've tried my best to seal stuff, and I have been always disappointed. Even with CO2, again, CO2 is another one. You can use CO2, but it's more damaging on your system and stuff like that. And also, CO2 is a little more expensive than green gas. So for me, specifically for you, I'd be like, either you can get a tap mag, right, which is like I've seen one on Evic for like made by 6mm Pro or whatever it is, and same thing. It's like you're saying, it's a high cap magazine with a line coming out of it, so that you're just feeding rounds into it and using a Wii mag. You can use also like the Tap Airsoft. It's an open bolt magwell adapter.
Yeah,
so
I've seen them all. I mean, being a gas user, I've seen people gut their Wii's or their regular GBBs just so that they could fit a line on it, or like make it so that it runs off of like a high cap magazine and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm a GBBR purist. Not gonna lie, because nothing's as good as reloading your GBB to feed that beast,
your reload
right?
capability unless you get into like really fancy stuff. Like I know that if you want to have that capability and you want to go down that road, you can get yourself a walk Daytona system. Yeah. So you can get the walk kit, and then you can put a Daytona kit inside it, and that one is, so far as I know, the only HPA system that actually has like a bolt lock system incorporated with it.
You're speaking French to me at this point. I don't know.
Well, pretty much what you would be looking for, except the only thing is that you have a line.
So what do you own for HPAs then?
I have a Daytona. I have two Polar Stars. I have a Red Line.
Are they expensive?
Yeah, they're expensive. They're like
for a regular Joe to come in here and be like, I want a Polar Star, or I want a HPA something. Well, what's your recommendation for them at this point?
I would ask them how much money they're willing to spend, or what's their budget, to be honest. Because just getting into the door, right? Now, if you don't care about what your gun looks like, right? You can get one of those already made guns like the MTW or whatever it is. And honestly, that's what I would suggest to someone who just wants to spend money once and just get into HPA, just because it's widely available. The customer service is like top notch. The gun looks slick. I'm not going to hate on it. But again, when you get into airsoft, when people start getting really picky and specific and stuff like that, that's where all things go out the window. So, you're going to have that guy that's going to want some fancy system, and in that case, then you're going to have to do some more modifications.
Yep.
So,
sorry guys, I had to go get dinner.
so
it's okay. He's in the zone for talking. Just let him go.
Okay,
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. Sorry.
Keep
Don't
going.
let me interrupt.
Well, yeah. Well, just to be honest, like if you're gonna get into it, it's not gonna be cheap. So like if someone's looking to get into HPA and stuff like that, you're gonna benefit if you came from a paintball background, because you can kind of reuse some of the stuff. So you'll save yourself like hundreds of dollars.
So is this why I see a lot more paintballers get into airsoft, because they have all the gear ready for HPA?
Possibly. Not all their gear.
Because let's say how much would a tank cost? Because that's the one thing I see them reuse.
So it depends which tank, and it depends on which system. But like typically a tank is between $150 to as high as $360.
So they already have that initial investment to begin with. Now they just got to get the engine. I'm guessing the line is the same.
And they'll also have to get a regulator.
A regulator.
So that's another like $100 to $250 or something.
So right off the bat, you're already spending at least $300.
Yeah, and
just to get started.
That's just on the tank setup, right, and the line setup, and that's not even getting into the HPA system. So let's say that you have a gun that you want to HPA. So you purchase that gun, which costs you, let's say, between $300 to $500 on average. I know there's tons of expensive guns, but let's say that's the average. So you already spent that much money on that gun. Now you want to HPA that gun. Well, now you're going to go out. Engine, I believe the cheapest one you can get off the bat right now is the Polar Star Kythera, which is like $315, I think. I can't remember if the Red Line one is just as cheap.
Doesn't Vulcan have one?
I'm not going to talk about that. Okay. Those are like the cheap ones. So again, now you're spending $300 something, right, and not including tax and stuff like that. And let's say you're willing to install it, right? You'll save yourself some money there. Let's say you don't know how to install it. Okay, now you're gonna have to pay someone to install that for you.
Yep.
Right, and on top of that, it's got to get tuned because just like an AEG, right? Like it has to meet certain requirements for it to be able to function properly and stuff like that, right? So you have to volume the barrel. So again, that's stuff that you can do yourself, or you can get some guy to do it. There's tons of guides on there, so a lot of people can save themselves money that way. I guess really HPA is like the dream thing for guys who want to get like end goal
being
kind of thing.
airsoft is a hobby.
Yeah.
A lot of hobbyists will tend to customize their own builds.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter as long as, you know, as long as there's a way to increase performance or anything, they're going to do it, right?
It's definitely like your Ferrari. Like obviously you can have a Ferrari AEG, right? I have played with a couple of those, right? Some of my friends have them. They're great,
Yep.
right? Also got Touch Dayton's Oka.
Yep.
Holy crap, that one's also.
I think that's the top of the line for any AEG at this point.
Oh, there's Umbrella Armory guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess from like a specific like a company.
Just to buy it off the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. To buy it off the shelf from a company, definitely you're paying top dollar for that thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've played with other ones that are just on par with that from other techs and stuff like that. But again, yeah, for availability wise, there's that. So like. When it comes to HPA, right, you have that tunability. Then it comes down to which kind of HPA system you want, right? There's tons of them out there. So then it comes down to like we could go on about each and every system. I'm not gonna lie, because there are specifics to every single one, right? So I encourage people if they're thinking about getting HPA to do research, because it's gonna save you a boatload of headache and problems, especially when you come to the field and your refs are like giving you that face, or like you're being a little apprehensive as to why you're now being suddenly pulled off to the side because you decided, oh, you're not shooting well enough, so you decide to turn the dial for some dumb reason.
So now we get into the question of field rules on it. So what is the field rules that we have here now, guys?
So it has to shoot below 1.7 joules. With HPA, we measure it in joules. Everyone wants to talk about FPS and stuff like that, but it's like, no, I measure it based strictly on joules. So it's the muzzle velocity coming right out of the barrel and stuff like that. And regardless of what weight you're shooting, it's 1.7 joules. So we start with threes just because it's, the easiest one. And that's, if you're shooting lower than threes with HPA, I'm kind of questioning you a little bit, especially because you're playing at Panther and it's outdoors. I wouldn't question you so much if you're like playing indoors, but yeah.
And what are the pros and cons of like
Oh, sorry.
AEGs versus like not Polar Star. See, I name it Polar. HPA systems. Like, of course, it's gonna be quick.
Yeah, well, and exactly, and that's what I just forgot in my mind is that there's also an RPS limit for HPA, and that is 20 RPS.
Oh, for the field.
Yes,
Yeah.
for the field.
Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Now,
That was
obviously-
implemented when
Exactly.
I
Now,
made my
mind you,
team. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people who groan and moan because there are AEGs that are capable of shooting 24, 25, 35, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Those won't last for long. And if they do, they were built really well. And that's an expensive toy that someone's not going to really want to break. HPA, you can do it on the fly. And I guess it's the same concept, but it's just that it's easier to abuse.
Our priority here is safety first.
Exactly. And these things, can be set on the fly
It's
if
just
they're not
easy
locked.
to be abused.
Yeah.
So
that's where they get the bad rep from,
yeah,
right?
that's where it gets a bad rep. A lot of and a lot of people aren't used to being hit with that kind of especially with the point of like consistency when it comes to HPA and stuff like that, where that BB is carrying that the energy, right? The joules, it's carrying that throughout. So when it hits you, it's hitting you and you feel it, right? Like,
Yeah, but you're also with the RPS, you're also getting 30 of those right towards you.
Exactly. At the same with maybe a like a 0.12 like variation in like the energy, right? So it's like that's where it gets dangerous. The ease of abuse, like just reprogramming it, right?
Well, it comes down to just the fact that it's really easy to tune, right? And that's one of its advantages, but that's also one of its negatives because, like, I don't want you guys to get off on like a whole tangent on it and stuff like that, but specifically, right? Like, there's that argument with AAGs doing the same thing. Yes, there are AAGs that do that, but guess what? They can't change, right? So they have strict limits. Yeah, you can, tournament lock guys with HPA and stuff like that, but I'm not going to lie. There's going to be guys who change it, screw with the rules all the time, and, it's either we, try and be vigilant, right, and let you guys play with it, or it gets banned outright. And honestly, I don't want it to be banned outright, so I'm really hoping that the community is able to, police itself as well as, learn. But when it comes to, like, the RPS and stuff like that, as you were saying, right, like, yeah, guys can, right on the fly, spend, like, 2 minutes, can change it to, like, 50 RPS if they want. Now, mind you, I'm going to be honest, okay? You shouldn't be running your HPA engine above 35 RPS, to be honest. You can, but you shouldn't, because that causes a lot more wear and tear on your system, but there are guys who do it.
But at the field,
you're at 20.
20.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know, guys.
Yeah,
20.
exactly.
If you don't know anything about HPA systems,
It's
come,
okay. You
come pick Tax Brain there.
And that's the thing. Like, we always have people that come up and ask, and I really appreciate the people that take time. Some of the new players that get an HPA system will come up to us and be all like, hey, I just got this, and I just wanted to make sure that we're following the rules, being safe and everything. So all those out there that do that, I seriously appreciate you guys taking the time. And to answer, one of the things that I always do is when I'm walking around, if I spot check someone or anything like that, when I ask you what you're shooting, I'm not asking you what BB weight. I'm not asking you what gun you're using. Like, especially if you, like, all I care is I saw a line, I saw HPA, and I'm asking you what your joules are. And I'm looking for a quick response that because you should know as an HPA player what you're shooting, because again, it's just the ease of abuse, and the weather affects it too. So it's minuscule compared to like me, going and cranking on the valve or whatever, but like it can play into it and stuff like that.
If they volume their barrel, they will have less problems.
Exactly. So, like, these are the things.
If you properly tune your gun, you will have less problems. So that's why every time someone comes up to me, and it's the same person, sometimes I wonder if they tune their gun fully.
So that gets into what you were saying at the very beginning. With great power comes great responsibilities. So as a HPA user, you need to know what the rules are at Panther.
You have to be a little more intelligent. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah. So for myself, okay, I have a Polar Star jack inside. What is it? What do we have it built in? A VFC Mark 18, right?
You have it. You have it in a VFC Mark 18.
Yeah. So that's what I have my HPA gun in, or my jack in, and I run it off just a small 3000 tank that I throw into the back. I got a line that connects through my pistol grip, and I run, my AEG mags. I run PTS, the EPM ones or whatever. No, PTS mags, whatever. Okay, so those are the ones I run. They're great. I run mid caps. That's what I like. And so for me, I have my guns set below all of my maximum limits. Just to make sure I avoid any confrontations that could arise from it and stuff. So I'm like, my gun's sitting at like 1.5 joules. I run, I shoot .3s. I don't go any higher. I don't need heavier weights because TAC's done amazing things to my barrel and my hop up. And then my RPS is at 15. So if I ever full auto someone, it's 15 RPS.
You're the epitome of responsible HPA user.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I turned your full auto off as well.
No, that's just because it's because it's finicky. I need to take it apart and look at it. Thank you for reminding me.
Still, a responsible HPA user.
Yeah.
Sorry.
One of a few.
Well, I'm just thinking, just in my mind right now, too. One common mistake that seems to happen a lot is when people tell people what PSI to run.
How to set their gun.
Right? Like, every gun's different. And, like, it's kind of basic, it's basic science when it comes down to, like, barrel length and barrel volume and all this stuff. Like, you don't need to get super complicated into it and stuff like that. But, like, there are variables, right? And one thing to remind people too is like, even if you're running a pistol, right? So all those guys that are running like the primary airsoft adapters or whatever it is, pimping out, making those speed soft pistol high kappa builds and stuff like that, you're still following the same rules that the rifles are running at because you're an HPA system.
If you have an HPA system,
regardless of what platform it is originally, as soon as a line and a tank is involved, or you have to shoot 1.7 under 1.7 joules. So that's why like you might see a guy running a pistol, right? Barrel length super short, right? But he might be pumping his tank up to like 130 or 120 psi on his GBB platform, right? Because that's what most pistols are. Because we don't have very many AAPs out here because of our laws. But he's probably going to have it at that pressure, and he's probably going to be shooting maybe 380 or just under 400, or like whatever it is to keep it under the 1.7, right? But if you have that same setting on, let's say, like a SR25 platform, you're probably shooting like 700 fucking PSI or something like, or 700 feet per second or something like that, because of the barrel length and whatnot, because you're pushing that much air pressure through that length of barrel through that small of a space, right? So don't copy other people's PSI settings and stuff like that. Do your research, understand.
So what you're saying is there's a shit ton of science.
I wouldn't say there's a shit ton of science. It's just that people really need to do their research. People really need to understand what they're sort of getting into. Now, people who don't care about that kind of stuff, and there are going to be a lot of you guys out there who just want to go plug and play. You can get like these platforms like from Wolverine and stuff like that, right? Where the MTW, where as far as I understand, the way they've built it is that they actually have like a restrictor or something like that inside the
like line. A tournament lock or something, or
not a tournament lock. It's like a physical restrictor inside like the airline, so that it actually cannot go above 1.6 joules. I think I heard a lot of complaints from a lot of MTW guys when they first came to Panther, where they're like, I'm juicing it up to 130 psi and my thing's not changing. Why? And it's just like, why do you want to be shooting higher than that? I'm confused, right? Because it's supposed to be low. But again, those guys get into where they want to start min-maxing super hard and stuff like that. So I don't know what they figured out on a way around it. I'm sure they just ripped it out or something like that. But again, still going to check those guys because they're changing and modding their stuff, right? I'm going to be harder on guys who I know are doing all these micro adjustments because I have to watch out for the safety of people, and hopefully people are responsible, but they're not.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's like, it only takes one bad apple to kind of like set it apart, and that's where already it comes down to.
There were many bad apples.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, like HPA in airsoft has grown itself to have kind of a bad name already. So, there's a lot of things that we can do in our own community to kind of like make sure we mitigate that. Because, I know predominantly a lot of the negative stereotypes come from, like, towards speed soft or paintballers coming over to airsoft and they're playing speedball, which is, like, not really where airsoft started. It was more of, like, the Milsim side of things where it started and stuff like that.
Again, that is debatable, depending on who you talk to, really.
I mean, because you have to understand that there are those two sides. They existed. Like, for instance, specifically, right? We were talking about California earlier. Speed soft is heavily present there. Right?
I would be down. I'm not against speed soft.
It's not that, but
don't get me wrong.
I know, but it's like, I'm just saying, like, there are those two complete opposites.
I'm just saying, like, it has to do with, like, the regs and, like, and so this is why I say it like this, right? I say it's the ease of abuse, right? And that's why I say great power, great irresponsibility, because, like, you've got young kids who've got these top-tier systems coming out to play airsoft, and you can, like, I don't know what some of the California rules are for field specific, right? But I hear some crazy fire rates. Like, I don't know what, they're indoors, so I'm assuming they can't be shooting that crazy, like, hot, right? Like, I mean, I know out in the States, like, you can have FPSs way above what we're allowed, right? So, like, I don't know what.
And for most people, you've probably seen videos of people,
just toxic
toxic
behavior.
players shooting up other players at high rates of fire, or they do the pain game, or it's just like insane amount of like speed softers like doing high RPS on other
Right?
people,
And mind you, like that, like
or
there
burnt my
are-
patch kid.
Oh yeah, well that
Yeah,
happened.
that. I didn't want to bring it up, but
that just came in my feed like
Well, and
not
people
even
get
like last
it
week.
misconstrued too, because AEGs are capable of pimped out stuff. You
Yeah.
know? Like you can
Well, that's
DSG
where
it or anything
that's
like
where
that.
most of the people.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
it has to do again with the ease of abuse
Yeah.
with a HPA system, right? Depending on what system you're getting and everything like that. Because if you're getting just some kind of redline pneumatic system where you're running semi, it's one shot, one pull. That's what it is. I don't think anyone's gonna have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah, or
But-
like the GBBR platform with the tap mags. I'm also not shooting more than 20.
no, you're
RPS.
using the same system as GB Bear. You're
Yeah.
damaging it per se a lot more faster.
Probably drying it out a
Yeah.
lot more with that high
But
pressure air.
yeah, the option's there. I've seen it. It's just I've seen a lot more cracks on it than a regular GBB user would.
Well, that's from guys again using irresponsible PSI because green
Yeah.
gas is usually around. Well, I'm not gonna lie, like because Wii's can handle CO2,
Yeah.
they should be able to easily handle.
Look,
HPA
GBBRs
system.
have high tolerance for a lot of
Yeah.
the pressures they're putting into. It's just a maintenance.
Well, that comes down to the individual. Yeah, exactly. If they're not
the
maintaining that
individual,
mold,
yeah.
then yeah, and I guess that comes with the other part of HPA, which is laziness.
Yeah.
It appeals to lazy people.
So, jumping into this, why is it?
Not attacking you.
you're-
Not attacking you. I'm
you
sorry.
looked
I'm not.
right at me, man.
I was
You
looking.
looked right at me.
That's not what I meant to do.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm 100%
I
sure.
think your
grab a
body's.
pizza, I don't care anymore.
I think your body's lying to you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Let's get the cat out of the bag too, guys. We're eating pizza. Okay. It's late. It's Thursday night. We're tired. We all have day jobs. We met up here and we haven't eaten. Don't kill us. And if you're wondering what it is, it's meat lovers and barbecue chicken.
If you want to bring pizza on the weekend for us, we'll take it as well.
We'll definitely take it. Jesus. If you would like to join us for pizza on the next Panther Airsoft Holy Tabletop. No, but yeah, like so what I was trying to say too, just about like the Speedsoft community and just like what's out there and stuff like that. It really sucks because again, it comes down to that ease of use. Ignorance is bliss. You know, some people pretend not to know or pretend not to care or don't care. You know, flat out. And yeah, it can get a really bad name for itself and everything like that. And like, cause mind you, like, you separate that line from the tank and everything, that gun's useless, right? But I mean, again, that's the same with any airsoft gun in its platform, right? GBB, no gas is useless.
You break my immersion when I see a line in a tank.
I know you get triggered like that, okay? But
Well, I won't lie. Like,
well, there's variations to negate that. So, Tack, if you want to dive in on those, because
Well,
I only know like one. So,
well, yeah. If I can remember off the top of my head,
So is it the ones that run off the stock?
yeah. So
like-
Redline was one of the first companies that did that with their closed gas stock system, which is you're just running like a 13 cubic inch tank or something like that in the back on a like set
So
of
how long
rails or
does that
whatever it is.
last?
I personally haven't ran a system like that. I know that recently they've released I believe it's a 15-inch, a cubic inch tank, which by 4,500, which is the same profile as the 13 cubic inch tank. So you're getting way more, and it's also keeping the same profile. So with those tanks, I'm not sure what you're getting, but I think like you're gonna easily get like over 1,000 shots or whatever it is, depending on what it is, right? Like if you run like an efficient platform where you're running with a tight bore and you have like you're running at like between 80 to 40 psi, you're probably gonna get a lot more out of your tank versus a guy.
Wasn't there something along the lines of, I know I have one on my container, one of the review guns. I believe it was Wolverine that has the two capsules at the back, the CO2 capsules.
Yeah, so with Wolverine,
is that the same sort of?
Same sort of idea, except with the Wolverine CO2 system, you get a lot. Like you get a lot less shots. Like I believe you get between 200 to 500 shots.
Yeah, you have to like take that capsule out
Yeah.
and put another one in, like
Exactly.
almost
I
like
think
every
it-
3 mags or something like that.
Depending on what make gap you have.
so when you get into the aspect of skirmish airsoft, yes, 3 mags. But when you get into, let's say, what we would probably use that platform for, which is like a milsim scenario, you're probably going to also run low caps.
Yeah, low caps, like
Which
30 rounders.
In that case, you're gonna go through like your whole battle loadout before you actually have to load.
So that's like the next
capsule.
evolution or step for what HPA is at that point, right?
For guys who want to take it to that next level, for guys who get frustrated running their Wii systems and having the gas leak out, or their GHK system and the gas leaking out and stuff like that, it can suck. It can really ruin your gameplay and stuff like that. So when you go to those extra steps to help mitigate that so that you can keep yourself in the game, it's like I can't hate on people doing that. It's a little more costly and stuff like that. And then, you have to be part of specific groups and stuff like that because not everyone's going to have general knowledge on it.
Just like gas blowback games for me, only gas blowback, right? It makes sense to put them in there. I haven't seen a game that's HPA only.
I don't think they would like the result.
That's probably why.
As Mac's saying,
then we truly have Speedsoft here.
Well,
it'll be interesting because I don't think there's enough.
I don't think you have enough players with HPA systems to begin with.
There is, but I don't know if enough of them would be into it. Because
to play Speedsoft?
They'd have to be playing against themselves, and no offense, but I feel like a lot of these guys don't want to play against themselves. They want to play against other people. So that's my opinion.
Have disadvantages.
Well, that's my opinion on that.
Well, actually, I want to know if people would be down for something like Speedsoft, and I'm talking Speedsoft, like like Speedball, like it wasn't paintball.
Do you
and stuff.
want Elliot to come in here with a flying head kick somehow? Because that's how you announce that.
Elliot, we're playing Speedsoft.
Oh my gosh!
No.
I live for it.
You'll get it on a weekend. Either way, I mean,
he doesn't listen to our podcast.
if you think about it, right, gas blowback users, the feel for us is basically the reloads, the realism of racking the gun. HPA users, advantage over everything. So I think that's how it is.
There's an advantage and disadvantage. Like again,
what's the disadvantage then?
No immersion.
Well, you look bad in photos.
With the line.
I'm being serious, right? Like when I try to take photos, I try to consciously hide the line sometimes.
Oh, I was about to say, I've taken photos of you with the line there.
Well, exactly. Like for instance, like if I wanted to get
boy, don't look.
Well, if I wanted to get a sick, like platforms that are able to hide the line a little bit easier, like AK platforms, because most of the time you're routing it right through the back of the stock and stuff like that.
So I'll give you a quote from when I had a dinner with Josh Warren from Milsom West.
Oh my!
He said he's okay with people coming in with breaking their immersions by bringing in like HPA stuff.
Yeah, I had it.
But he's okay with that. But what he would like to see is people bringing in like scuba tanks and stuff, and using CWS crew serve weapon systems like an M2 or like an M40 or something like that, right?
So,
something that'll have 2 or 3 people carry, the gun, the tripod, the ammo, and as well as the tank, right? Run that, and you basically have a crew serve weapon that you could use to, infiltrate fire on a field, right? So he's okay. He's like totally cool with that. But to use it on like just regular like airsoft guns and stuff like that, he says he's okay with it, but he's not gonna tell people to go away and
he's
not
not gonna
attend
say
this
no
event.
to money, but I understand like their point of view and stuff like that.
But you just basically ruin their immersion from there. So
exactly, and a lot of the time when you take it to that level,
I do agree with him. Crew serve weapons, right? Heavier weapons, stuff like an M2 Browning or a 240 or even an M249, right? And like something that's machine gun.
To some degree,
I'm totally cool with it, right? I'm totally cool with having a line on that because it's probably much more reliable than the electric ones, to be honest.
I'm trying to build that C9 that I have to be reliable.
But you get what I'm saying, right? To like, it makes sense for like a cruiser weapon or a weapons crew to have a line because you're already carrying all that stuff. You might as well carry extra gear with it, right?
Well, and as far as I know, if anyone pays attention to World War II enactment airsoft style stuff, that's actually quite prevalent. Because I know those guys take the core of reenactment really, really seriously. And I have seen guys who do like the old school machine guns, and they have the guy also carrying like the tank and stuff like that for the dude.
But that's what a crew served weapon is. Basically, it has to be served by a crew.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, no, it just like, dude, going back to those times and even up to present times now, like those are teams, those are team weapons. You need a crew to handle those.
Well, no, exactly. But like what we're talking about specifically is as soon as you get into the HPA realm, right? How heavy is an HPA system? They're not. right? They take away that weight. You like take out the internal guts of stuff and you literally make it into a lightweight system. So like people can get away with it because those lines get blurred because of that, right?
No, I understand that.
So again, like that's why like for guys, you know, like for me making like the Daytona, right? It's heavier than your standard AEG, right? Because you have friggin' brass bolt system in there pretty much, right? But you know, running that also is going to get tedious and heavy after a long prolonged time compared to like an AEG and stuff like that, right? But just speaking on to the crew served weapons, sorry, it came to mind recently just watching Alphonse's video. So just doing, exactly, because he's rocking that 50 cal, right?
Yeah.
So
Modus.
just doing a little research and, you know, going off into what you're saying, from what I understand, that system runs off of an M249 gearbox. So as far as I know, if those dimensions are the same and it still functions that way, I think you can actually fit a Daytona M249 kit in there, and then you'd be able to run recoil 50 cal machine gun running off of an air tank and stuff like that. Or you can make it really simple and you can just throw in one of those other HPA systems, make sure your alignment's good, throw in the line, and Bob's your uncle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options for freaking HPA. I did not realize that.
Exactly. It's like you said at the beginning. It's assembly required, right? Like you can probably like, and this is what I say to some people who are like thinking about getting into it and stuff. If you want to buy second-hand HPA, you should definitely talk to some people who know what they're talking about first before you like make a purchase.
Is there a huge used market for HPA systems? Or?
I mean, I see people sell their HPA kits, you know, like guns that they have built already and stuff like that.
Is it because resale value is great?
Well, that's another thing
They
too.
hold their resale value.
They try to.
Well, I'm gonna be flat out honest. They hold their resale value. Like that. Like there isn't really a lot for something like that to depreciate, right? Like if you try to tell me that has a depreciating like, you know, asset, like any kind of depreciation on it, like it's like what, the 5 cents or $5 worth of O-rings that I have to replace on there and stuff like that. Like, you know, unless something actually breaks on there and stuff, which most of the time they don't, it's really hard to kind of like lowball someone unless they just want to get rid of the system, right? Because again,
but it's like, yo, you have a $400 AEG that you've converted into an HPA gun with another $400 investment. So now you're gonna charge me $800. I'm not buying the AEG.
Well, no, at that don't know. So that's when it comes down to people like making the sacrifice on that point is, are they selling the gun or are they selling the HPA system? Because
you can bargain for it, I'm guessing.
Well, there is, because a lot of the time, like you can just, if they didn't butcher the system, you just got yourself a really cheap body, and then you can throw in gears if you're, you know, in another gearbox and make it into an AEG again if you're so inclined or whatever it is. But no, like when it comes to resale, like again, it depends, right? Like on what it is. If they put it into like a cheap combat machine body,
that's a whole
then I'm sorry, I'm only judging that based off of the value.
Dude, that's like putting a sleeper on a combat machine.
Well, a lot of people do it, and it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not going to look at the value of the combat
body?
machine. It's gonna be strictly based off of the value of the HPA engine.
The engine,
and
gotcha.
So I probably, you know, knock off 10% or something like that.
But the tanks and the line hold their value pretty well, I'm guessing.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Really?
Because tanks actually have a life expectancy.
Oh.
Now, mind you, you don't have to get them hydro tested if they're under, I think it's like 68 cubic inches now.
What's hydro testing?
You have to go take it to like I guess like a fire hydrant place or like your local fire hall, and they literally have to pressurize it and see if there's any leaks in it.
Oh, like check for bubbles, like tires. Gotcha.
Exactly. And if it does, it's gone. Bye-bye tanks. So take care of your tanks. But yeah, no, they do have, if you don't take care of them, right, tanks specifically can have a depreciating value. I find carbon fiber tanks can have and hold better value just because they are worth more, especially if they're taken care of properly. But like, they're also very easy to like lose value because one crack and it's like
They're also the ones I see broken all the time.
Yeah, well, exactly. And
like I have a steel tank and I have tripped, fallen,
So
thrown my stuff.
if you're getting into this, you're asking for more trouble than gains, I'm guessing.
It comes with a whole new game of headaches.
Yeah, well, exactly. If you're not if you're the person who just wants to throw money at stuff, literally go for an already built system like what Wolverine's trying to achieve and stuff like that, or get a drop-in kit or whatever it is, and you'll save yourself the headache. Talk to customer support and stuff like that, because on many sides, because I have experience with Polar Star, Redline, and Wolverine, and Tap as well, but that's just for their adapters and stuff like that. But Polar Star has phenomenal customer service, Wolverine has phenomenal customer service, and Redline as well has extremely great customer service. You know, shout out to Jim Budd, you know, like has helped me out plenty of times with my stuff. So like, if you get into the platforms, you're gonna be able to be helped. You're gonna be able to get your questions answered and stuff like that.
The information's out there.
Yeah, you know, and if you want to get into it, specifically, there's the What the Tech series by Wolverine, which is a very, very helpful and in-depth series, specifically on HPA engines.
This is like a separate hobby on its own at this point.
Not really. I think you're just discovering a whole new door that you've been ignoring the whole time.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Excuse you?
He's like, I'm gonna stick to the gas over here. Ignore this door.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that you can get into and stuff like that, and a lot of people can get confused, and you know, there's a lot of things that can get misconstrued. You know, like specifically, the big thing is type bore versus wide bore. Now with your AEGs, yes, you are going to have that argument all the time. But when it comes to HPA, you're not really going to have that argument, because you literally have a tank. You can supply as much air that you need, and you're playing a skirmish game, so go fill up after. You know, like I see those guys where they're like, 2,000, not going to have a good day. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you running that you're not going to be able to play a game with 2,000 PSI sometimes? Like, you know, it makes me wonder sometimes how people have their things set up.
So let me ask you this, Mac. Mm-hmm. I got your name right, by the way. Oh. Is it fun to shoot an HPA system? Is it something that is like dreamed of, and you're like, this is all you like what you wanted all along?
Okay, so like, yeah. I think my progression into airsoft was pretty good, because I started out with an AEG, so I understood like the not the ins and outs, but I understood the base of an AEG. Then me and Tack got our first gas gun together, and that was a lot of fun. So I definitely enjoyed that part, just because before I had even played airsoft, I had shot real firearms. So It was like, oh, okay, cool. This is where like the immersion and the realism can come from, the gas platform. The AEG platform was for fun. And then when I finally took a stab and had a chance to play with an HPA system, I was kind of shocked at just, again, the ease of use and abuse that can happen with that. Because, you know, like Tack's joking about taking away my semi or my full auto and everything like that. And it's like, I don't need it. Like, you know, I can shoot so incredibly fast and consistent with semi on my Polar Star that it kind of, it does haunt and daunt me sometimes, you know? And that's why I'm like, I try and be aware of like my play and everything like that too. So like, you know, again, Tack has done phenomenal things to my gun. He's my gun tech and everything like that. So, like, he's, you know, done all the things he's talked about volume in the barrel. He's done all his hop-up adjustments and everything like that for me. You know, he's the guy who tunes my stuff to
But we're talking about experience of using it, like, on the field. How is it?
So, for me, I do love how easy it is for me to be able to just kind of point, aim, and shoot, and then I hit the guy. You know, and like I range test it, like, you know, Tack and I, we range test it, so I know that I'm hitting someone. So sometimes it can get a little daunting when like I'm shooting someone and I see them like shrugging it off, or they're all like, "Oh no, that didn't hit me," and I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" Like, but
so what you're saying is, when tuned, you can just pick up and play.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So, like, you know, you're talking about those people that kind of, like, throw money at it and stuff. Like, I'm definitely the person that, like, got the system because it's easy, and I don't get a chance to play often, but when I do, I can just plug and play.
So it's literally a point and shoot, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly, because Tack's taking care of all the nitty-gritty details and stuff like that for me, and...
so you're the user that basically threw money at it and be like, I don't want to deal with this. Just give me a system that works.
Yeah, well, I mean, I basically went and bought like 3 HPA systems, and then I was all like, hey, Tack, look what I did. And he's like, what are you doing?
And as the gun tech, how much headaches are you getting there, Tack, when dealing with this?
HPA systems.
I don't know. Have you seen me out there yet?
So you're busy.
Yo, that was a cruel joke, man. That ain't my fault.
He does it for passion.
Yeah, exactly. He loves this stuff, guys. Bring him your broken gun.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
Say something.
No.
Never again. So in terms of teching, now let's go back to you there, Tack.
Okay.
In terms of teching, like, is it a big headache or is it like easy or is it like a whole different ball game from AEGs? Because in gas, you get my headaches. I'm used to it, and I try to educate people as much as I can. From your end, using HPA, like, how is it from a tech's perspective?
It's pretty simple. There's it's the most common problems with HPA when they don't perform is usually misalignment, right? Because a lot of the time people are complaining about, oh, it's not shooting well. Usually comes from, their nozzle not being centered and stuff like that, which means that it's not, evenly applying the pressure and whatnot. And then it comes down to having the wrong bucking combo and stuff like that. Like, same problems as you would run into with an AEG, right? You got to find the things that work. And once you find the things that work, you stick to it. And
So it's, at the end, is it rewarding?
Yes, in my opinion, I enjoy a lot of the HPA guns that I run. One of the things I really like doing is I like setting a gun to be able to shoot the same distance on high PSI as well as low PSI. Like I was doing some screwing around or whatever it is. I wish I could try it with an AEG, but I'm just not as technically inclined yet to try that kind of stuff. But with HPA, I managed to get one of the guns to shoot like just under a joule or whatever it is, and I was still shooting it just as far as I was. Mind you, it wasn't going as fast, right? But hey, you get the drop on a guy, you're shooting that, it's super quiet because you're using like as little amount of air as possible, stuff like that. So there's a lot of benefits to that too. You're also doing a more air efficient build when you're using lower PSI, so you get more shots out of it, all kinds of ups and downs and stuff like that. So like one of the problems usually though, it's like, seals, right? So O-rings, so that comes down to people overshooting, not doing their maintenance schedule properly, not doing maintenance at all. I've seen some really gross engines before. Like, sorry, I
So,
just had a
long
really
story
bad
short-
flashback.
Maintenance still required.
Oh, 100%, but not as much. Like, it's easy, and I won't lie. Like, if you want to be super lazy, right? Little secret here for the HPA guys. You don't want to clean your barrel as much. Just get a wide bore. You don't have to clean it as much. But if you're an HPA guy and you have a tight bore, you're going to have to clean that pretty much just like you do your GBB because you're going to run into crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Learned something today.
Yeah.
Still not going to get an HPA system, though.
I mean, you should try it.
It's
Just like, I
okay.
got one,
You
can
have
try
us,
it.
so you're more than welcome to try any of mine.
I'll just give you a backpack.
I see a line.
I'm
I'm just scared. I don't want
stop.
It's okay.
Hide it in your sleeve.
I like
it. In your sleep.
Don't look at it.
when I do, I will let you try it out. But I'm actually trying to build a not no tank, but no line. I'm trying to build one that's in the stock and stuff like that, so it's not as recognizable. You can still keep the front of the gun. I know you're not going to be able to have all the fancy Magpul, furniture.
Yeah,
in
but
the
who
back.
cheek welds anyway? So
Yeah. Let's talk about the SSG one stock, eh?
You're the one who wants to buy that guy.
Yes, I would love to put an SSG one in my hand with a Eurotac grip on it and a 45 cubic inch 48 cubic inch by 4500 tank. Just run it like a paintball gun.
This is so gross.
Kill everyone on the
I can't
internet.
believe you just said that to me. Oh my god. Take that
let's-
hoodie off.
let's talk about just ready to build system at this point. For the people at the end who's been listening and want to get into it, like, what is like the most easily ready to like ready to pick up? Go to a store, pick it up, ready to use. Have a tank and everything. Like, where should they look first?
Locally, I would definitely recommend.
First local.
I would definitely recommend checking out Trigger because they definitely have brought in a lot of stuff over the past few months. This last year here.
Yeah, if you're more than willing to throw money at it, I think Trigger has their techs there, and then they could basically get you set up and then they have their
Yeah.
tanks there too, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
they've gone and picked up everything that you need to start, and I'm pretty sure that they've got varying systems back in stock. I know Trigger is popular with a lot of people around BC and just like in Canada in general because they have access to a lot of things. So if you guys are on the fence about that stuff, I would either make a call or make a purchase. So.
Yeah, that's if you have a lot of money to throw at it. Honestly, like
Well, so again, though, right? Like it comes down to being it is a large scale initial investment. But
If you have no HPA system whatsoever, it's going to cost you at least $1,500.
there you go. That's what people
I'm
want
not
to
going
know.
to beat around the bush for you guys.
There you
No,
go.
that's what I'm saying. It's a big investment in the beginning, but once you get that and stuff like that, like, you know, just like the headaches that you avoid and the problems that you would run into if you were running a GBB or if you were running an AEG.
There's
or
its own
something
set
like
of headaches.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's its own set, but they're different timing.
Yeah, don't hate me, Poi, but I got the tap mag for my Wii gun just so that I can run it in the winter
You
time.
said tap mag.
I mean,
Yeah,
come
that's
on,
the
boy,
only
the winter's coming. You're not even going to be able to play
That's
anymore.
literally like for me to justify why I have that for that GBB is strictly because I got so tired of my mags seizing on me.
Yep.
Mind you, if I was playing in an event, cool, that adds to my immersion mag malfunction. I can play that off or whatever it is, right? But when it comes to me wanting to actually schwack guys on the weekend, having that drum mag makes things so nice. Like, I'm sorry to say, it makes things so nice.
Understandable. No, I get it. Like being a gas user myself, I'm only able to use it in summertime, and having a HPA, tap mag on it is great. Again, if you want to get into that stuff, it's pretty easy. You're still using the same system. You're just tapping your mags.
Exactly.
It's yeah. As someone who works on gas mags, that's an easy thing to do.
I don't suggest it though with the Wii stuff. Like I've seen the guys who do where they actually did like a full tap set. So you're literally buying a $10 adapter to put on all your mags, which are already like $90 a piece.
Yep.
So like when I see those guys, that really hurts.
Oh, when you just tap like a single mag?
Yeah, and then they would have to
Yes,
put a
yes.
line in it every
When-
time
if they
they
really
reload.
just wanted to play, they could just buy like the 6mm Pro Shop high cap one with the line coming out of it or whatever it is, or you could find those
Or an Angel
high-
custom one with
or-
the line on the back, and then you got the drum mag at the bottom.
Well, the Angel custom one is like is used with the tap mag system.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
There
like
you
the
go.
Firestorm or their Thunderstorm or whatever it is.
It's basically a high cap that you just wind up,
Yeah,
and then
exactly. They
air
got the
comes in.
electric one, and then they got the flash.
I
mag
mean,
one.
to be honest, that looked cool, and I'm like, cool. Like you could put a lot of air into that and not lose consistency,
Mm-hmm.
and that's totally cool with me. Would I rock it? Personally, no.
What
But
about your thoughts on the Armor Works one then? Because like
I've seen those as well.
So like, cause I know we're still talking about HPA and stuff like that, but like just to go off on a little tangent, I remember seeing that M249 GBB one where it had the gas reservoir inside the tank, inside the box mag and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I really wish that came about and stuff like that, but again,
Never did,
It never did
unfortunately.
because of the properties of gas
Yep.
and stuff like that. So
But
like,
if you convert that into an HPA line, totally cool with it. Like I said, crew serve weapon or anything, heavy machine gun or anything like that.
Yeah.
As long as you could carry a tank and then another person carries, the gun itself, then I'm
ideally,
okay with
it'd
that.
be cool, like on like a vehicle, like you're saying, like
Yeah,
crew
yeah.
serve weapon or a vehicle mounted weapon, because then at least the tank's like inside the system, and you're in like a machine gun turn or whatever.
It doesn't break my immersion. I'm okay with it.
Exactly. No, and I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there too, right? Like the reason why I got the whole Daytona system was because I like the recoil of it and stuff like that. I hate the fact that I have to carry such a big tank for it to function, for what I want it to do at events and stuff like that. But I have to be prepared for, those situations. And that's some of the, cons of it and stuff like that. I have to have a bigger tank and whatnot. I know some guys that run like the big tank setups, and I'm talking like 2 of the big tanks that I have, right? So
Yeah.
those guys are now in the realm of over $3,000 something into their system because... Yeah, those tanks, aren't cheap. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. So like that's what it comes down to, especially in like Poi. You make a good point of saying like like if it's for one of those like higher tier weapons, crew service, vehicle mounted or something like that, something where it's going to be like an actual like really useful tool, then all the power to it and everything.
Or
'Cause I
sorry,
swear
just in my mind,
there's
those
a
guys who
team
want to
here-
do the A10. If you guys actually want to do an A10, because everyone, that's why they juice up their HPA guns, right? You can actually make a mock A10 if you wanted to, with a Polar Star. Just saying, if they wanted to, they could.
You mean the Gatling gun?
No, like I'm saying, like if you wanted to make a mock one or whatever it is in that sense, because of the rapid fire it has and stuff like that, if you made like a mock, A10 looking thing or whatever it is, you could have, faux.
I think it's too heavy. They can't fly that.
No, I think they could.
Anyways, that went off
Sorry.
tangent. Go ahead.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Did you really just like suggest us building a
Yes.
mock A10?
Yes, in my mind.
Get out of this barn, man.
Sorry.
Airsoft to A10.
Sorry that I have dreams. Be it extreme.
Don't ask me to stop being a man.
But like Paul has the minigun, and
Yeah.
almost all the miniguns use the same system of using high pressure air,
Yeah.
and as well as
Well, they can run off of two systems. You can run that off of green gas.
yeah, I've seen that,
so
which
you
is
have the green-
unreliable. I can tell you that.
Exactly, which is why
Yeah,
you
very
HPA.
unreliable, and you also need to buy a specific bottle to rotate that thing in. They're only available in Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
and then
Well, they're-
you just
they're
run
the
it off.
Puff Dino
Well, I mean, it just makes me like, even those, like, you're talking like the classic Army one, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
See, I don't even like that minigun in general because, like, if that were a real weapon, which I'm sure it is.
The
right?
M134.
Yeah. Like, in a real world variant. And it's like, in what sense is that being deployed and used, right? Like, is that a
Terminator.
It's the only time I break my immersion because it's cool and I can shoot Mason with it.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
But
lie.
I
that
swear,
has some of the most
okay, this is what I was gonna jump to. Is like, I swear there's a team here that made a crew service weapon with an
Yeah, I
HPA.
believe it
Yes,
was the
there
Aces.
is. Aces and eights.
Ace and eight, they made
Yeah.
a 50 or
They made a Modus 50.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I think it was on a Helix too, or Hilux too, right?
Yeah, it was on a Hilux on top of a vehicle mounted, and then as well as they had it on a cruiser with the tripod.
Yeah, I swear, because I
Yeah,
seen a photo
and with the
of
shield
that.
on top,
Yeah.
in front of it, so it's pretty cool.
I seen a photo of that, and that really.
And
made
it takes
me,
3 people to carry it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
'cause, I mean,
That's I'm totally cool with them running that like as an HPA system because like, yeah, you're already carrying the weight. You might as well carry a bigger tank with it too, right? So
exactly, and you might as well have the fire capability of like that, and like it being able to control HPA on just such a like a small control board,
Yeah.
just having such fine-tuned adjustability to it, like, and being able to put that performance into like a crew service weapon or something like that, that could really add to the element of a game and stuff, and especially for the bigger events like a Milsim, like you were talking with Josh Warren about Milsim West, like, if you have like, a real crew service weapon that's capable of putting effective fire and or creating effective fire support, like,
yeah, then you have a weapons squad.
What's cooler than that?
Yeah,
right?
and then you have a weapons squad that
heavy
that
weapons
actually
squad,
heavy
exactly.
weapons squad that goes with you.
So like that to me right there is cool. And then just for me again, I'm sorry I'm the lazy one this tack describes, but like I don't get to play often anymore, so it's like when I do, it's like nice to be able to kind of just plug and play, and yeah, that's,
I'm still a purist, unfortunately. I'm a GBBR purist, and I like my AEGs. That's
well, don't
pretty
get me
much it.
wrong, I like AEGs too.
Yeah.
Like, like there's things that you can do to an AEG to make it cool, perform, and like I love gas blowback guns because again I'm all about the functionality of it and everything like that, and the immersion realism factor of that. So like I would love to take a gas gun to a Milsim West event and spit out hope and dreams. So
I haven't taken one to a Milsim West.
you,
That's
or you haven't?
I would not.
No?
I would
never do it?
I would rely on my AEG more because reliability. As well as I don't want to mess around with freaking like gas mags and carrying all that extra gas canisters.
I did it for my first Milsim West. My backup gun was my GBB. It was fun.
You were carrying 2 guns and
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, he
Oh,
dropped in.
man.
He dropped in
So
with
I
two
was
guns,
like,
yeah.
I was the epitome of your really dumb airsofter on my first Milsim West. I
Gotcha.
came way over prepared. Like I had way too much stuff because I read the rules and I just was like, I'm gonna bring everything. My God, Never again.
I was the minimalist. I had everything, plus I was packing for dating as well.
Oh my gosh, man! When you talk to some of the pros and stuff like that, and you're like, "Wait, I can get away with that."
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw away some comfort for that.
Yep.
You know, for some mobility. Hell yeah.
Hey, I came from a hiking and camping background, so for me, I already had all the gear.
Yeah.
So.
Who needs a pillow?
You don't need a pillow for a
Them
milsim.
16-year-olds need pillows.
Yeah. I need
I just need my ferns.
So
just give me ground. Safe
I think we've basically gone through HPA system.
Well, we've brushed through it because, like, it's so easy to get into specifics again. Like I was saying, like, you know, you could get into specifics directly with just Polar Star as a company. You can get into specifics with Wolverine, right? Just because of, like, they have these different platforms they're coming out with. You can get into, you know, specifics about Redline. So, and then, you know, I won't forget too, you know, you got Mancraft systems out there. So, like, there is a lot out there. So it's like
so they got to pick your brain now.
well, it's just a whole nother level of stuff, right? And in all honesty, I hate to say it, but it comes down to how much money you're willing to spend, right? Like, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, right, they have those budget options, which is like the jack and stuff like that, you know, $300.
But it's a DIY.
Well, exactly. And
Yeah.
$300 might not seem like, you know, like cheap to some people, but it's cheap for what it is and stuff like that. You know, it's the same thing, you know, like when people try and talk about cheap night vision. Ha!
Yep. Gotcha.
cheap night vision.
Yeah.
Man.
You want cheap HPA? Let me show you a straw and some spitballs. There you go.
Wow. That actually holds pressure?
That's pretty cheap.
That is pretty cheap, yeah.
That's
I don't
like-
know if they're going to call their hits, and I don't know if you're going to have very many flyers, but...
Dude, I want to see that chrono,
I'm
man.
gonna have to chrono you on that, sir. I see a straw.
First of all, COVID rules. Let's not.
and for guys who want to get super creative, you could do what like Novrich did and make that super ridiculous flamethrower style blowgun. But hate to break it to you, don't think it's going to be allowed at Panther because
Nope.
it breaks
Wait,
at 20
wasn't that
RPS.
Silo where he did like a Coke bottle?
I don't know. I just know
No,
that
it was a Norvich's
I just know
channel.
that you can do it, but
He made it out of a Coke bottle.
but
or
hate to
something,
break
right?
people's bubble over our RPS limit. So
Yeah, don't do that. Just please don't.
Yeah.
God.
You guys want to add anything else to HPA other than different variations?
We're
Because
watching
you
you.
could keep
I can
adding
keep
to this.
going. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry.
I
Obviously,
think
I'm not going on like a specific
Bottom
list and
line
stuff,
for
but
Panther is, what was the rules again?
1.7 joules under and 20 RPS max.
And you have all eyes on you if you bring in a system and we don't know you.
Yeah, and for all those.
Yeah, you're definitely like, and if you're not coming up to me, like, I mean, you know, because I miss every now and then, but people do point things out to me, like, you know, if they don't, like, I mean, everyone here knows each other. So if you're not a regular here and you bring an HPA line, and again, I ask you a question, like, what are you shooting? And you give me an answer, like, what BB weight or something other than your joules. You know, it's like, okay, hey, my chronograph's in my pocket, like, you know.
You always have a
and I
chronograph
appreciate
in your
those guys
pocket.
out there who are being responsible and stuff like
swear,
that.
it's always in my
because
pocket.
we're trying to follow through and everything like that. We are having complaints about people. We're dealing with it, and I'm happy to kind of let people know that I'm checking the guys and they're fine. They're within what I've set them to and what they're supposed to be at. It's just that, hey, it's getting colder, or hey, you're a little close, or hey, you I guess just haven't gotten used to being shot like that before. So suck it up.
Yeah.
And that goes for both sides.
Exactly, I know. Like, I got sent on a witch hunt the other couple weeks back and everything.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
He had a
were.
line on his pistol. His
When
rifle
I
was
see you
shooting
walk
hot.
with determination and with the chrono, I'll be like, oh, shoot, here we go.
Why just man? Like, I got sent on this witch hunt. I find the guy. I do every single gun.
Show me
guy.
the line on your rifle. Show me the line.
Yeah, this is an AG.
Show me the line.
This is an AG. I was like, oh my god, why am I here? I was like,
There was a
got an
line on your on your rifle.
I was like, why? I was like, he's got an AG, and then he tells me what FPS it was, right? And I was like, okay, and I was all like, why do I have to? Fuck, I'm already on this witch hunt. The pitchforks and torches are out, right? So I'm like, okay, hey man, just bring all of your guns, like all of your guns over to the range. We're gonna chrono every single one, and I just I want to see the smile fade from these guys' faces, right? So, yeah, that got resolved, but God, like it sucks. And I mean, I guess that adds to some of the questions that we get about Panther and stuff like that, where people are like, "Oh, you don't mandatory chrono people and stuff like that." I do want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And that does come down to the fact that also, like, some people are dumb, some people are ignorant and everything like that. But, we all want to be able to play safe and play and enjoy the hobby. So, let's all be careful and mindful of each other. And then,
Well, I never have to look out for the renters. That's the bonus, right? I don't have to worry about them other than their damn iPro staying on their.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm concerned
I was
about.
about to say.
Yeah,
like, I was
other
like,
than that, right? They're fine.
Yo, I'm
it's
just fogging, bro.
It's everyone else. It's
just fogging, bro.
Everyone else.
I know, right? Oh, God. Yeah, bad. Oh, God, iPro.
Yep, iPro. We need to
What's
do
the
another
number one rule,
segment.
guys?
iPro.
iPro.
We need to do another segment on
Stays on your
iPro.
face anytime you are out in the game area.
Well, that might.
Yo,
that might
bro,
be
we're
a-
almost out of the exit.
God, I know.
God,
And this
iPro.
and this is where it comes down to as well, because a lot of people like to hang out right by the entrance or exits and then start shooting. So this is why it makes me really question why people think it's an okay idea to take off their eye protection. All it takes is one of these idiots to sweep you with their toy
I should really
gun.
just start shooting people before they exit. I'm not gonna lie. I've thought about it. It's gonna piss people off, but I'm gonna be like, do I need to
It's
prove
horrible.
a point to some people?
Yeah. Well, okay. So yeah, and then going to that too is like, some people really get bent out of shape about the way things that HPA, like I've had some HPA players get mad because they're like picked on and stuff like that. And again, it comes down to the way I phrased it is ease of abuse.
Yep.
So that's the reason. Sorry, guys. There's no way around it. You're not going to change my mind. If you have a line, I don't know you, or you give me a bad answer, I'm going to chrono you. With AEGs, I will chrono you if I'm getting complaints and stuff like that, or if you've told me you've upgraded it. And
Or if you say something stupid. If you say anything stupid, then I catch on to that.
Dude, then I have to chrono every single one. Every single person.
There's a trust that we have to build
A lot
here.
of them are smart and they keep their mouth shut.
Nah, some of them. Don't
Well,
give
we'll notice right away.
Don't give them that much credit.
Yeah, we'll notice.
Yeah, bro, I just changed my spring out this weekend.
I just put it in.
Yeah, or my other favorite line is, "Hey, bro, I just cut a couple coils off this spring, man. I just wanted to check to see if it's legal." Not.
As you can see, we got many eyes that are looking out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and that's what it comes down to, right? Is like you got to make sure you understand that when you play this sport, and especially when you come and join the Panther community, like it's a lot more than just you. It's not like you're allowed to be selfish. Go ahead. You're a narcissistic airsofter, like most of you are. Hello, so am I.
We're playing dress up.
Yeah,
Yep.
cosplay to the max, okay? But yeah, exactly. It's like, you need to make sure that you're mindful of others and everything like that.
Safety is number one priority
Exactly.
here.
Because if people don't come back, then you're playing with yourself and
It's like I always say, man. Play tennis in the tennis court. Everything outside of it ain't tennis.
you do not say that.
Yes, I do.
We
When
like
do
the
you
worst
say-
dad jokes.
When do you say that?
You want to hear a bad dad joke?
No.
Okay, fine.
I was going to say shoot.
Man, let's start wrapping this
Yeah,
up.
okay. It's late, guys. Oh my God, I know. Wow, we need to go. We have
Tonight
lives.
is an ASG night game. So if you're wanting a night game on Friday,
Well, if you haven't
tonight
tried
is
it
a
out
night.
yet, exactly, you should definitely go. and
It
check
is
it
going to
out.
be pitch dark at 7 o'clock when you get here. So please be mindful.
Yeah, so if you think you have an advantage with nods, not.
Actually, tomorrow night, not tomorrow, tonight is going to be moonrise is at 6 o'clock.
Still though, Panthers got some great
And
coverage.
it's cloudy, so that
gonna say
that
the
moonlight
smoke.
diffuses over the clouds pretty well.
It does,
I was gonna say
but
the
come on,
smoke's gonna screw with you.
when you look through Panther though, it's still
dark.
It's still dark, man.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is to hide in the darkness, even from NVGs, man.
True. Yeah. Well, I highly recommend people to
Yeah,
try it out.
ASG, Airsoft Strike Group. Look up their Facebook page if you want more info on it. They're running a night game, and then next week is the Saturday game.
And that's where they post a lot of that. A lot of times people miss that and think that they don't get enough notice or anything like that. Guys, these night games are recurring every 2 weeks. So if you miss this Friday, that means 2 weeks from now, there will be another one.
And they will announce it on their Facebook page.
Exactly.
And
Don't forget, just like we're saying at the beginning of this episode, be prepared. It is getting cold.
yep.
No joke.
And it's October, guys.
Yay.
Oh,
That
it's
means-
October.
Yeah, did you forget?
I didn't even realize
It's
that.
October.
I know.
And
Well, I guess we know what we're going to be talking about in our next couple episodes.
Yep. We still got to deal with Thanksgiving, but hey, it's Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, make sure.
I was just going to say, yeah, a lot of some of our listeners down south might just be like, Thanksgiving, what's that? Right now? You know, it's,
I want everybody's costume ideas. Let's go. Let's
wanna
get
start hearing
everybody.
some-
Let's
exactly.
get everybody's costume ideas.
I think this year we should definitely be able to hold a costume contest because
are you sure we're just not going to see like 200 John Wicks?
Dude, I'm okay with that.
that's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
My dog's well protected at that point.
If I've got an entire team of Baba Yagas, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Yo, if someone can come up with the 9mm Tanner Tactical, like,
There's-
SMG one, that'll be so cool.
I think there's one or two guys actually that come to our field that have the full Terran Tactical setup.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I like.
Well, you can buy it off of KY Airsoft if you want. You can get the Baba Yaga pistol.
I've seen the slide. Yeah.
I think you can get also the SMG off of that one too, or something like that. I know you can get them off of EVIC as well. I've seen it on there.
But it doesn't have to be John Wick, guys. It could be anything else.
I'm just calling it out because
Yeah. No.
people are not original.
No.
I mean, we're all rare and red, so we're already sus.
Yeah. 31st is going to be on a Saturday, so it's going to be epic. It's going to be an all-day Halloween sort of deal. We're going to think about what we want to do. Give us ideas for what you want to do, because honestly, like, if we get a lot of people come in that day to do costumes, we could do like pumpkin carving, like we did last time with a game where we had to carve a pumpkin in the middle of a game and defend your pumpkin carver. That was an awesome gameplay. That was hilarious. Dayton has a video on that, actually.
That would be hard.
Is it where
Yeah.
like if they get shot, then they're down for like a few seconds kind of thing, or is it?
No. They had to find a pumpkin, and then once they found a pumpkin, they have their designated pumpkin carver to make a pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern, and then from there they'll come back out of the game once they're done, and then they'll be like, "This is how many pumpkins we have. How many points we collect from each pumpkin's design is gonna be the points that win the game."
Okay, well, fine. I'm excited for the rest of this month.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pumpkins. I'm just
No,
saying.
that's okay. We're right beside farms.
Exactly. Pick one up on your way to work.
Yep. And then afterwards we can shoot the pumpkins.
Oh God.
God, that's gonna be a big mess.
That's okay. We're out of nature.
Yeah, exactly.
The birds will eat it. All right. Well, you guys can do the closing statements here. One of you. Pick one.
I don't know why you're just staring at me, but okay. Well, hey guys, thanks again for joining us for episode 17 of the Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. I'm one of your hosts, Mac. Tack's over there giving me a weird look. Don't say anything, Tack. And Poi. Hi, Poi.
What's up?
And goodbye, Poi.
Bye.